What's up, magical humans? Welcome back to Your Most Magical Life. I'm Mia Magic, and today we're talking about inspiration. And of course, one of the major factors in getting inspired and finding inspiration is following your intuition. Today is Cyber Monday, if you're watching this video the day that I post it. And that means that we're having a sale on intuition t-shirts. So if you want to get one for yourself, follow that inner wisdom and just, give a little wink to the magical life inside of yourself so that, the muggles just kind of know what's up, but only a little bit. You know what I'm talking about? Then we have just the wardrobe accoutrement for you. So that is such a big piece of it. From my perspective, the most important way to find inspiration is to follow your intuition, your inner wisdom and inner guidance system. You are going to know what things inspire you more than anybody else does. Like even listening to me and being like, oh, well, Mia says this. It's like, that's not going to have the same level of impact on your capacity to be inspired or to create something that is just of your essence, that is your expression, more so than something that just comes straight from you. Something that is what is right for you, is the thing that you think, oh, that's what charges me up, or that's what lights me up, or that's what gets my juices flowing. And one of my favorite things about inspiration, if any of you know me or have followed me for a while, you know I'm obsessed with words and etymology, which is the study of the origin of words. And inspiration, in obviously means in or internal, and spirare is the verb in Latin, means to breathe. So to inspire is to breathe into, it's to breathe life into. Spirare was also life, the breath of life. So to be inspired is to have the breath of life within us. So this is super important. We can use our breath in any moment to be inspired, to calm ourselves, right? Just slow, long. Just a few breaths like that can change your entire state, can shift you out of whatever it is that you're thinking about that's distracting you and into whatever it is that will breathe that life into you, or that will allow you to feel life breathing you. So some of the ways that I really like to find inspiration are, one, in nature. That is, we're creating all these VR worlds. My partner has 3 different virtual reality companies and they're creating all these metaverses and all these places. Guess what? There's this thing that God created called the universe. It has every single thing, pretty much, give or take, that metaverse does. And you get to go out and experience it. You can feel it, you can touch it, you can smell it, you can taste it. Oh my goddess, it's magnificent. Everything in the natural world. I mean, look at just this one beautiful thing that this male creates in order to attract a female, to see her, right? To let her be seen and to let himself be seen. My goddess, it is magnificent what the universe has already created for all of us. So a really great way to go out and get inspiration from nature is to think about the elements and how do you want to receive that inspiration, right? Is it something for your body, for your health, for your home? That's all really earth-based. Maybe you want to go into a forest or go up to a mountain or just be out in a meadow somewhere. Those are very much earthy things, right? If it's something to do with your creative flow or your sexuality, right? Our sacred juices, our sweet waters. If it's something to do with your emotions, right? Your tears. Maybe you want to go to a river or to a lake or sit by a stream or go to the beach. I'm definitely more of a river girl than a beach girl, but it's because I've had some really terrifying experiences with the ocean. Goddess bless her, revere her so much, but also she scares the shit out of me. So there are so many things that we can learn just from going and sitting by water, and how we can relate to it and understand the waters within ourselves by sitting next to water. Clouds, I personally love clouds. I know anybody who's just sat underneath a beautiful cloudy sky, it's you can't help but see shapes and things in them. And one of the things that I love about clouds is that they are air and water coming together. And the air is our breath, right? It's our mind represented in the elemental reflections in our bodies. So it's our thoughts, it's our communication, right? I need breath in order to be able to speak and share with all of you. And so clouds are the breath or the wind or the thoughts or the mind mixed with the water, the emotions, the creativity. And so we can really look at clouds and be so inspired. We're like, oh, there's a dragon riding a unicorn, or like, there's a mermaid jumping into a forest or whatever. Like, you get to see whatever it is that you desire to see, whatever comes through based on where you are emotionally and where your thoughts tend to lead you. And you can really let yourself be led and guided into maybe somewhere you haven't been before, maybe a new place, just by letting your mind relax and wander and letting your emotions flow through. That's a great way to just like lay somewhere, anywhere beautiful in nature, and let her speak to and through you. Then the fire, of course, can be a fire itself, fire scrying, fire gazing. There's so many different ways we can utilize magic and find inspiration with the fire. But one of the ways that I really love is to like just get outside and be in the sunshine, right? And you can have the sun. There's like all kinds of crazy like yoni, anal sunning to just like slurp a lot of that life force energy up into your sacred parts. And I fully recommend that if that's something that you're into. But you can also just close your eyes and see the sun just shooting into your third eye or into your womb or into your heart, wherever it is that you feel you want that inspiration to come from or to come through. So that's a really great way to use the sun. But if you want to just like start some fire inside of yourself, movement is one of the best ways to create fire within. Getting up, getting on your yoga mat. Like, I was actually about to go do my yoga practice before I was going to do this video. And it was actually so hot that I was like, wow, this heat, this fire might be too much for me right now. Let me go use this fire. Let me go move some of this inspiration to share with you all. And then when the fire's a little lower and it's not going to like overheat me, I'm going to go outside and hit my yoga mat. So we can really choose how we want to relate to the fire. Do we need it to be stoked and activated and moving and motivating us forward? Or do we need it to be a little calmer, a little less, right? People like me tend to be very fiery. And so I could use a little more cooling more often than not. I tell you what. So movement is such a great way to connect with the fire inside of ourselves, whether that's dancing or just shaking. You see animals just like, ugh. Like every time my partner just torments our cats, he like carries them around. I mean, it's just like, I'm like, baby, they hate what you're doing to them. He's like, oh, I don't care, And the cats just like let themselves down and then they go, ugh. And then they just like rub themselves all over him again. I'm like, okay, well, I guess they don't hate it as much as I thought. But that shaking off, animals do that in the wild all the time. It's just shaking and moving energy. So you can do that. Like I said, you can dance. I'm personally not a runner, but like lots of people love running, biking, hiking, just doing your yoga outside. Like that's been a great part of the pandemic thing for me, is that I do my yoga outside now. I don't need to go to a studio. I've found all the teachers I love on YouTube, and I do have a membership, and then I just get to go out and do my thing underneath the trees. And that's really nourishing for me and really supportive for me in terms of how I love to do my movement that makes me feel most alive and inspired and activated. So those are some really great ways to just use nature and the earth to get inspired, to get energy moving, right? We really need to look at our thoughts as well. So when you feel like getting inspired, when you feel like creating something, when you have a project that you want to be working on, what are the things that distract you? What are the things that maybe keep you from doing it? Are there stories that are running like, oh, well, I'm just going to fail at this anyway, so I shouldn't even try? Those are all mind things, right? Those are all, oh, I'm going to like pick up my phone and get on Instagram, or I'm going to, do some more shopping, or I'm going to text these 14 people back instead of sitting down and doing the thing that I need to be doing. That is all in the mind. And so if you notice your mind distracting you from accessing your inspiration, then a really great practice is breath work, is just like breathe into the thought, breathe into the story, breathe into the part where there's a block, whether it's in your heart or your throat or your womb, your pussy, whatever it is, your legs, your roots, and really send your breath into that place. And if emotions come up and you keep breathing and you're just like, oh, I'm sad, I feel sad. It's like, good, yes, let yourself feel sad and move the sadness, move that energy out, make sounds and move that energy out so that whatever's in the way then makes space for that inspiration to come. And one of my favorite ways, I talk about this particular practice all the time. So those of you who are in Witch School, have taken any of my courses, you already know about this, but this is one of my favorite ways to find inspiration. And that is to do what I call a channeled writing. You can call it stream of consciousness or like first thought, next thought. There's all different kinds of ways of automatic writing, of describing it. But what I love to do is call upon something. So I invoke something to me. That's usually for me, it's either redwood trees, the goddess herself, my higher self, which could be the same thing depending on where you land on those particular thoughts. It can be inspiration. I call upon inspiration. Please write to me, through me, anything I am meant to receive in this moment, or anything I am meant to know in this moment, or anything that will support me in finding you in this moment. You can make it your own. It doesn't have to be, again, like, don't listen to me if it doesn't resonate for you. If you're like, no, I don't want to do that, then don't do it. It's totally fine. No pressure. But this is just one of my best, favorite, easiest, most powerful and impactful practices is to do a higher self or channeled writing. I call upon my higher self. Please write to me, through me, anything I am meant to receive in this moment in order to access my inspiration, in order to feel motivated, inspired, whatever it is. Those are so helpful. And I find, I caught my brother doing it over the Thanksgiving experience, and I find that it's like getting a letter from God or the goddess or the universe or your higher self every single time. I did that practice every day for a year, and my life changed in that year. It was really, really powerful. The other thing that I get from my mom, and goddess bless her, she just left this morning, and one of the things that she always said to me when I was a little girl, which is probably why I've started like making videos, because it's so one of those things, but she said, whenever you're caught up in your own shit, go and do something for someone else. And that has been such an amazing practice in my life. Is when when I first started making videos, oh my goddess, y'all, like there'd be moments where I was having a meltdown. I was like losing my shit with something. And then I would just hop on a live and answer questions and let people know that I'm here and I'm thinking about them and I'm available for support. And every time I would do that, I would feel like a different person at the end of it. Now, some of you might argue that like me sitting and doing, like on my phone, my mom definitely used to say this. She's like, oh, it just looks so narcissistic. How is that? Like, oh, sitting on technology, like you're not doing something for anyone else. But I charge a lot of money for my one-on-one work, a lot, because it's worth it, because it's a complete transformation. And so when I can give even just a microdose of that time, effort, energy, like it takes a lot of energy to hold space for other people and to support their transformation, right? You got to be the container. You're like the cauldron that we're brewing the potion in. And so that requires a lot of energy. So to just give a microdose of that, to just give all of that out of the kindness of my heart, it would always make me feel better because I'm always providing some value to someone somewhere. And so the same goes for, a lot of my friends, and I've done it many times, but I didn't this Thanksgiving. Go for Thanksgiving and serve the homeless, or serve the homeless every weekend. A group of us used to do that every Tuesday. It was like we went and served food to the homeless for dinner. And doing something like that, just one, makes you realize how lucky you are to have whatever it is that you do. Two, it makes you really have compassion for other people. There's so many stories. There's so many, wrong turns and places where we could have just made one different move or one slight adjustment and ended up in a completely different place. I was in an accident when I was 16. I almost lost my arm, and it could have been a lot worse. Could have been my face that fell out the window. I could have died. I could have just been crunched and not be here at all for all of you guys. I would have been dead at 16. There's so many little micro moments in our lives where we've been looked out for or had an angel on our shoulder, however you want to look at it. Again, like, no pressure to take any of these even language suggestions to make them your own. Really, it's just about what feels right for you. But those are really, that's one of the ways that I always find inspiration. And, you know, even this morning, this video came from me being on a coaching call with one of my clients, and she was just talking about how she's like just not feeling inspired. And I was like, wow, great. Here I am being of service, and I'm getting an idea. I'm getting inspiration for how I can be more of service. For me to be even more of service, even though I'm being of service right now, it's like, how can I be of service to you all that I got from being of service to her? It was like so beautiful. It's like, this is what I want to make my video about today. I want to make it about inspiration, because I know that it's really hard to find sometimes. And then the other thing is just doing something creative in general. So like, I am not an artist at all, but sometimes I love to just paint or to just draw something, you know? And for me, one of the great things that I really love is like, you know, if I picked something like this, if I was like, oh, I'm going to draw this peacock feather, that's an easier thing for me to draw. Cause I'm like, okay, cool. I can like look at this and okay, this is the turquoise part and this is blue and this is black. And I can like kind of make something that looks similar to this. Free drawing is like, I'm just basically not capable of that. It looks like a 4-year-old did it, but you know, just painting, drawing, you know, making something with your hands, whether it's like clay or Play-Doh. I mean, doing a crystal grid. If you got a bunch of little tiny crystals, that's something I always do on my altars, is with all the little crystals, I like build these beautiful little either circular or cross or triangular or star little crystal grids on my altars. And that's super fun. You can do it like underneath your bed. You can, you know, there's so many different things you can do, but especially one of my friends is an art therapist, and doing art in any way puts you into a different side of your brain than we're normally utilizing, unless you're an artist and then you're doing it all the time. But for those of us who aren't, who are like typing or, you know, doing a lot of speaking or numbers and spreadsheets and like computer stuff, all of that is very different than the parts of your brain that happen to be firing and working when you're painting or drawing or singing or drumming. Like, that's a great thing about drumming, and this is a really powerful way to find inspiration as well, is that drumming, any beat like that, any drum, what does that kind of sound like? Drumming is the first sound we all hear in the womb, because it's the sound of our mother's heart beating. So we can use drumming to enter into a trance state. You can put drumming on, like my favorite album of shamanic drumming is by Dave and Steve Gordon. I believe they're brothers, and it's called Drum Medicine. It's on Spotify, the whole album. It is a fucking trance, y'all. I've told this story before, but like the first time I was literally up at my mom's house and I was like, I'm just craving like some drumming or something. And I like casually went over to her, my, you know, CDs. My mom has like all these piles of CDs by her stereo. And literally the first thing I picked up was Drum Medicine. It was just like, I'd never seen it before. And usually most of the CDs are from like 1992. Like, I've seen them all, you know? And I picked this up and I was going to just meditate for a couple minutes, and I played it and I listened to the entire album over an hour. It put me into a trance. So using drumming is such a great way. You can use a drum yourself and do all different, that's not exactly a rhythm, but you know what I'm saying? I'm kind of percussionally challenged. My dad and my brother are both drummers. God has blessed them. I didn't really get that gene, obviously. But you can drum yourself, playing it in my head, or play some drumming music, like I was just suggesting, and let yourself get into that trance, get into that state. And then either like do your channeled writing or draw a tarot card, right? That's a really great way. Super easy. Divination is such a great way. You can just ask the tarot cards, hey, what can I do right now to get inspired? Or what would be the most impactful thing for my inspiration right now? What is the project I should be working on in order to like be in deepest service to my inspiration? So very important to remember what inspiration really means. It's life breathing us and actually letting life breathe you. So I hope that these suggestions have been supportive to you all. Thank you so much for watching. I will put the link to your Intuition t-shirts down below if you'd like to get one. I am so grateful to each and every one of you for being here on my channel. Thank you so much for just believing in a slightly alternative version of the craft, because really, which means wise. I say it all the time. That's what intuition is. It's your inner wisdom, and your crafting your wisdom is going to look totally unique to you. It's going to be your own. It's meant to be made your own. So thank you so much for loving and accepting and getting excited about my craft and the way that I have been cultivating, honing, and utilizing my wisdom, especially in order to find inspiration to be of support and service to all of you, because it really is my greatest honor and pleasure. So thank you so much again for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I am Mia Magic, and welcome to your most magical life.